Yo, it's Big Ant the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in as 50 Cent has decided to jump out there and use his #1 tactic as beef to promote his latest product that he executive produced. Once again, as this time around, it's BMF, as it's going to be a part 2 to the documentary side of the collective that they had going on Starz, as they had the TV show that got canceled this last season, but they also had a whole deal as a whole where they were doing the documentary part to kind of like tell the storyline of the TV series and everything that went on with BMF. And he put this up on the gram today with the trailer. And I can't post that trailer right here because it's copyrighted through Starz, so I can't let y'all hear.
So listen closely, because what you're about to hear is shaking the hip-hop world all over again. New reports are circulating, and fans are stunned by the claims coming out around 50 Cent, the BMF legacy, and a documentary that's now at the center of a growing storm. This isn't about what definitely happened, it's about what people are saying is happening, and why the internet can't stop talking about it. 3.29 according to emerging chatter. A new BMF-related documentary has reportedly sparked serious tension behind the scenes. Names are being mentioned, old wounds are being reopened, and at the center of it all is 50 Cent, a man known for never backing down when his name is brought into controversy. Sources claim that Big Meech's brother allegedly made statements that didn't sit right with PFF, and if these reports are even half true, emotions ran high almost instantly. Fans are shocked because this isn't just industry drama. This is personal. The BMF story is tied to loyalty, family, and survival. And now people are saying that those lines may have been crossed. Whispers online suggest that 50 Cent felt disrespected, sidelined, and even provoked by what was said in connection to the documentary. And when someone says his name again, as the rumors suggest, history tells us he doesn't stay silent. Social media has been on fire, with people picking sides, replaying old interviews, and questioning motives. Was this a misunderstanding blown out of proportion, or was it a calculated move that reignited long-standing tension? Some fans believe this could change how the BMF story is told forever, while others think it's another chapter in hip-hop's never-ending power struggles. What makes this even more intense is the silence, or at least the reported silence from certain key figures. That silence has only fueled speculation. Behind closed doors, people are saying conversations got heated, alliances were tested, and respect became the main issue once again. The family was left divided, the fans were left confused. And one question keeps echoing online: did someone poke the wrong lion this time? And if these reports continue to grow, this drama might just be getting started. Reports started spreading quietly at first, the kind that usually get brushed off as online noise. But this time, fans noticed something felt different. Conversations across social media hinted that a new BMF documentary was stirring tension that nobody expected. People familiar with the situation claimed that Big Meech's brother had shared his perspective in a way that rubbed certain figures the wrong way. And when 50 Cent's name reportedly came up in those discussions, the mood allegedly shifted fast. Fans are shocked because everyone knows how closely.
Because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me.
Closely Fifth guards his legacy, especially when it comes to stories he helped bring to the screen. According to the chatter, the documentary was meant to shine a different light on the BMF story, focusing more on family viewpoints that hadn't been explored deeply before. But some viewers who caught early clips or heard summaries began saying that certain comments felt like subtle shots. Not direct accusations, not outright disrespect, but enough to make people question intentions. Insiders claimed that 50 Cent became aware of these conversations through mutual contacts who warned him that his role and influence were being downplayed. People online started revisiting old interviews, clips and posts, trying to connect dots. Emotions ran high as fans debated whether this was a misunderstanding or something more deliberate. Some argued that every family member has the right to tell their side, while others felt that excluding or minimizing 50 Cent's contribution crossed an unspoken line. The family was left divided in public opinion, with supporters on both sides defending their version of respect and loyalty. Sources close to the situation claimed that 50 Cent did not react immediately. Instead, he reportedly watched the reaction unfold, observing how his name trended alongside the documentary. Fans noticed cryptic posts and captions that didn't mention anyone directly but carried a tone that felt sharp. That alone was enough to send speculation into overdrive. People began saying this was the calm before the storm, a familiar pattern whenever Fifth feels challenged. Behind the scenes,
ordered in 2021 as a companion project to complement the Starz-scripted crime drama BMF, which recently concluded its 4-season run on Starz. The show was canceled in October, leaving fans with a cliffhanger when Big Meech, Demetrius Flannery Jr., was arrested by Detective Von Bryant Steve Harris. There has been plenty of speculation regarding why BMF was canceled, with the spotlight on franchise executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's beef with Big Meech. Sources at the time of the cancellation told Deadline that Jackson and Big Meech's frayed relationship was not the reason BMF ended. Jackson addressed the rumors during the recent chat with Deadline while promoting his ratings juggernaut Netflix docuseries Sean Combs' The Reckoning. BMF was already slightly declining in ratings before the last season started, and they made some creative choices that were, from my perspective, not good choices. Jackson told me in late November, "I know people feel like I turned it off, but the networks would have continued to move forward with the show if it was doing the numbers it had been doing." So it's one thing me saying that the show...
Rumors suggested conversations took place through intermediaries. Some claimed that attempts were made to clear the air, explaining that nothing malicious was intended, but others insisted the damage was already done. Once narratives hit the public, controlling them becomes nearly impossible. Fans dissected every word attributed to Big Meech's brother, questioning whether it was pride, frustration, or unresolved history driving the comments. But added fuel to the fire was the timing. The BMF story has always been sensitive, rooted in real lives, sacrifices, and consequences. For many, it isn't just entertainment. So when reports hinted that creative control and credit were being debated again, it reopened old wounds. Emotions ran high, not just for those involved, but for supporters who feel connected to the story's authenticity. Some fans claimed that 50 Cent felt protective, not only of his work, but of how the story impacts people still living with its consequences. They argued that if someone says his name in a way that suggests erasing or reshaping his role, he sees it as more than criticism. It becomes a challenge. And history has shown that when challenged publicly, he responds loudly and unapologetically. Others tried to calm the narrative, suggesting this was all being exaggerated by blogs and commentary channels chasing clicks. They pointed out that documentaries often include multiple perspectives, and disagreement doesn't always mean war. But even those voices admitted that the tension felt real this time. The silence from certain parties only made things worse, leaving room for assumptions to grow unchecked. Fans are shocked at how quickly loyalty became the central theme again. Loyalty to family, loyalty to collaborators, and loyalty to the truth. Discussions online turned emotional, with people sharing their own interpretations.
Mano, you got to add Dave East. Then like this week, he's been going at Clarissa Shields and Papoose. Who knows who next? He going back at Big Meech and Lil Meech. This is what 50 Cent is on. Expect more from this because he's going to use this dissing to promote it again.
Expectations of respect and betrayal. Some accused Big Meech's brother of speaking out of turn, while others accused 50 Cent of wanting control over every version of the story. Through all of this, one thing became clear to fans watching from the outside. Whatever the truth is, the relationship between these figures appears strained in ways that go beyond a single documentary. It feels like years of unspoken tension bubbling to the surface. And as the reports continued to spread, the sense grew that this situation was setting the stage for more reactions, more statements, and more divided opinions, leaving everyone waiting to see how the next wave of commentary would shift the narrative once again. As the conversations kept circulating, new layers were added to the story, making everything feel heavier than before. People claimed that once the documentary buzz reached a certain level, phones started ringing behind closed doors. Friends, former partners, and industry insiders were allegedly checking in, asking the same question in different ways. What exactly was meant by those comments, and why was 50 Cent's name even part of the discussion again? Fans are shocked because many believed the BMF chapter involving him was already settled, at least publicly. According to the reports floating around, Big Meech's brother was said to be frustrated with how the BMF story has been told over the years. Some chatter suggested he felt certain family sacrifices were overlooked while others received praise. In private conversations that later became public through leaks and summaries, he allegedly expressed that the documentary was his chance to balance the narrative. Supporters online said this was about reclaiming voice, not starting conflict. But critics quickly pushed back, saying intent doesn't matter once words are out there. People close to 50 Cent reportedly interpreted the situation very differently. They claimed he felt blindsided, especially if his name was being referenced in a way that questioned motives or credibility. Emotions ran high because for him, the BMF story is tied to trust built over time, not just business. Fans pointed out that he has always emphasized loyalty as a principle, and any suggestion that paints him as opportunistic strikes a nerve. As speculation grew, social media reactions became louder and more personal. Some fans defended Big Meech's brother passionately, saying family members deserve space to speak freely without fear of backlash. Others accused him of stirring controversy at the wrong moment, knowing exactly how 50 Cent responds when provoked. The family was left divided, not only internally, according to rumors, but also in the eyes of the public watching every update unfold. There were also claims that mutual acquaintances tried to cool things down before they escalated further. Whispers suggested messages were exchanged, clarifying statements and intentions. But even those attempts purportedly felt tense, with trust already shaken. Once emotions run high, even neutral words can sound loaded. Fans analyzing the situation said it felt like both sides were talking past each other, each focused on protecting their own truth. The documentary itself became almost secondary to the drama surrounding it. People who hadn't even planned to watch it suddenly became interested, not for the content but for the controversy. Clips were replayed, quotes were isolated, and tone was debated endlessly. Fans are shocked at how quickly context disappeared, replaced by assumptions and heated opinions. Some voices online argued that this was an inevitable clash of perspectives. When real-life stories are retold multiple times, especially ones involving power and survival, friction is bound to happen. They suggested that neither side was entirely wrong, just deeply invested. But others weren't buying that balance. They insisted that respect should have been handled privately, not through narratives that invite public judgment. What kept the tension alive was the reported reaction from 50 Cent himself. While no direct statement was confirmed, fans believed his body language in recent appearances and the energy of his online presence spoke volumes. Subtle jabs, strategic silence, and carefully chosen words were interpreted as warning signs. People said it felt like he was letting the pressure build, knowing that anticipation alone could send a message. At the same time, supporters of Big Meech's brother claimed he was standing firm, refusing to be silenced simply because someone more powerful felt uncomfortable. They praised what they saw as courage, framing it as a family member finally stepping out of the shadows. This back and forth turned into a loyalty test for fans, forcing them to choose which perspective felt more genuine. As days passed, the story refused to fade. Instead, it deepened, pulling in more commentary channels, bloggers, and reaction videos. Each added opinion seemed to stretch the divide further. Emotions ran high across every platform, and many began to sense that this wasn't just about a documentary anymore. It was about pride, recognition, and the long memory of past alliances that never fully healed, leaving the situation charged with unresolved tension that continued to shape every new rumor that followed. That unresolved tension only grew heavier as more voices entered the conversation, each adding their own version of what they believed was really going on. Reports claimed that people who had stayed quiet for years suddenly felt encouraged to speak, as if the documentary controversy opened a door that had long been locked. Fans are shocked at how quickly old alliances were questioned, with some former supporters of both sides choosing to distance themselves publicly, afraid of being pulled into the storm. According to ongoing chatter, 50 Cent was said to be especially bothered by how the situation was being framed online. Not just disagreement, but the implication that his involvement in the BMF story was somehow those close to him allegedly said this struck a deep nerve, because he has always presented his role as one built on trust and shared vision. Emotions ran high as fans debated whether this was about ego or principle, with neither side willing to back down in the court of public opinion. At the same time, supporters of Big Meech's brother argued that his frustration was years in the making. They claimed that living in the shadow of a larger-than-life narrative can wear on anyone, especially when the story becomes globally recognized. Some fans suggested that the documentary was less about attacking anyone and more about reclaiming space in a history that felt incomplete. Still, critics pointed out that timing matters, and releasing such perspectives now felt like reopening wounds that never fully healed. Rumors also began circulating about private reactions from people close to the BMF family. Some claimed there were tense conversations among relatives, with differing opinions on whether the documentary was worth the backlash. The family was left divided, at least according to online speculation, with some members urging calm, while others felt silence would only make things worse. Fans watching from the outside described it as painful, seeing a story rooted in brotherhood turn into public disagreement. What intensified the drama even further was the way fans interpreted every move from 50 Cent. A single post, a caption, even a smile caught on camera was dissected endlessly. People claimed he was sending messages without saying names, letting everyone know he was aware and unamused. Fans are shocked at how much meaning was attached to the smallest details. But that's the reality when someone with his history is involved in controversy. Commentary channels began suggesting that this situation mirrored past feuds, where silence was followed by sharp responses that shifted the narrative instantly. Even without confirmation, many believed it was only a matter of time before words turned into something louder. Others, however, hoped that cooler heads would prevail, arguing that both sides had too much to lose if the tension escalated further. Meanwhile, discussions around respect became more intense. Fans asked whether respect meant allowing family members to speak freely, or whether it meant protecting collaborators who helped bring the story to a wider audience. Emotions ran high as people shared personal stories about loyalty and betrayal, projecting their own experiences onto the situation. This made the debate feel less like celebrity drama and more like a reflection of real-life conflicts many viewers understood deeply. There were also whispers that industry figures were quietly taking notes, watching how the situation unfolded. Some reports suggested that future projects connected to the BMF legacy could be affected if trust continued to erode. Fans speculated about deals being reconsidered, relationships cooling, and opportunities slipping away because of public tension. Whether true or not, these rumors added another layer of pressure to an already volatile situation. Through it all, one thing remained consistent. Neither side appeared willing to fully clarify or shut down the reports. That absence of clear resolution kept the narrative alive, allowing imagination to fill the gaps. Fans are shocked by how something meant to preserve history turned into a source of conflict, and many began to wonder if the damage was already done. That as the noise continued to build, the story felt less like a single dispute and more like a collision of pride, memory, and unfinished business. Every new reaction seemed to echo the same question. Can a story this powerful ever be told from just one angle without leaving someone feeling erased? Or, has this moment already changed how everyone involved will be seen moving forward? That question lingered heavily as the discussion reached a point where fans felt something had permanently shifted. Reports suggested that even those who once believed this situation would quietly fade began to accept that the tension had taken on a life of its own. People claimed the atmosphere around the BMF narrative felt different now, more guarded, as if every future retelling would be weighed against this moment. Fans are shocked because what started as a documentary conversation reportedly evolved into a test of legacy and control. According to ongoing speculation, 50 Cent was said to be weighing his options carefully. Those close to him allegedly described a mix of frustration and calculation, pointing out that he understands how quickly words can reshape public opinion. Emotions ran high because any response, or lack of one, could be interpreted as either strength or concession. Fans debated whether silence meant confidence or restraint, and that uncertainty only kept the conversation alive. On the other side, Big Meech's brother was reportedly standing by his perspective, refusing to walk back what he felt needed to be said. Supporters framed this as someone finally asserting their voice in a story that had grown far beyond the family itself. Critics, however, argued that once a story reaches that scale, every word carries weight, and intention alone cannot control impact. The family was left divided in the eyes of the public, with each side's supporters convinced they were defending truth. Reactions from fans grew more emotional as time passed. Some expressed disappointment that a story rooted in unity and brotherhood had become another example of public conflict. Others admitted they were captivated by the drama, unable to look away as new interpretations surfaced daily. Emotions ran high in comment sections, where people argued over who deserved credit, who crossed a line, and whether respect had been lost along the way. There were also claims that this moment forced everyone involved to confront uncomfortable realities. Telling real-life stories is never neutral, and each version highlights certain sacrifices while leaving others in shadow. Fans are shocked at how clearly this conflict exposed that tension. What one person sees as honoring truth, another sees as rewriting history. That clash of perspectives seemed impossible to resolve cleanly. Industry watchers speculated that this situation could influence how future projects connected to the BMF legacy are approached. Some suggested that stricter boundaries might be set, while others believed collaboration would become more cautious, shaped by lessons learned from this fallout. Even without confirmation, the idea that trust had been shaken felt real to many observers. As the noise slowly began to settle, a different kind of tension replaced it, not explosive, but unresolved. Fans sensed that nothing had truly been settled, only paused. Every interview, every appearance, every mention of the BMF story now carried extra weight. People listened more closely, searched for hidden meaning, and compared tones, convinced that the story was still unfolding beneath the surface. What made this moment stand out was how personal it felt to so many viewers. Beyond celebrity status and business decisions, it reflected struggles over recognition, voice, and memory. Fans projected their own experiences onto the situation, seeing parts of themselves in the conflict. That emotional connection ensured the story would not disappear easily. In the end, the reports left everyone with more questions than answers. Was this simply a clash of perspectives amplified by the internet, or a deeper fracture that had been quietly growing for years? Fans are shocked that something meant to preserve history instead sparked debate about who gets to define it. And as the conversation continues to echo across platforms, one thing feels certain to those watching closely. The BMF story, and the relationships tied to it may never be viewed the same way again, now that you've heard everything being reported and all the layers surrounding this situation. The biggest question is sitting with you. What do you think is really going on behind the scenes? Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided in public opinion. But the truth still feels just out of reach. Is this just another case of stories being taken out of context? Or are we watching deeper cracks form in a legacy that was built on loyalty and trust? You've seen how quickly narratives can shift when powerful names are involved. One comment turns into speculation. Speculation turns into sides being chosen. And suddenly, everyone feels personally invested. That's why your voice matters here. Do you feel 50 Cent had every right to feel disrespected based on these reports? Or do you believe Big Meech's brother was simply telling his side of the story the only way he knew how? There's no simple answer. And that's exactly why this conversation keeps growing. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let everyone know where you stand. But remember, keep it respectful, because this story hits close to home for a lot of people. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to stay updated on every twist, reaction, and new report that comes out, make sure you like this video. It helps the channel more than you realize. And if you don't want to miss the next big entertainment story before it explodes everywhere else, subscribe right now and turn on notifications. This way, you're always one step ahead when the drama unfolds. Share this video with someone who's been following the BMF story from the beginning and ask them what they think too. This story may not be over, and as new reports continue to surface, we'll be right here breaking it all down with you. Stay locked in, stay curious, and keep questioning every headline you see.